You may have noticed that I've been doing a lot of 3D printed RC content here on my channel, and recently I decided to build the world's largest 1/4 scale open RC go-kart, and although there were some issues along the way, the end result was actually really good. Tevin did a fantastic job of driving that thing around. Lots of you really enjoyed seeing the slightly larger scale projects here on my channel, which is why I've decided to do another one. Now I want to continue doing large scale 3D projects here on my channel, but I want to try and do things a little bit different. I want to try and show you guys completely new stuff that you've never seen before. Over the years I've seen lots of drift trike videos which are really cool, and then I thought to myself, why don't I try and build a giant RC version? So I decided to start looking around to try and find my next large scale 3D project, and then I came across this, a 1/6 scale RC Drift Trike, which can be fully 3D printed. Now this has been created by a user called Rlaarlo. It looks incredibly cool, and I think it'd be a worthy large scale project. So let's take a look at this then. Now this is a 1/6 scale drift trike. It costs $28 for the files. Just looking at the pictures, it does look incredibly cool. I haven't really seen anything like this before, which is how it got my attention in the first place. Now there's a lot of information on this page telling you about the recommended filament choices, hardware, electronics and everything else. A lot of this information isn't going to be actually relevant to me because I'm going to basically do exactly what I did with the go-kart, and I'm going to double this thing when it comes to size. And because of that, everything's going to be a little bit different. For example, the M2 and M3 hardware that this uses is all going to be doubled in size once again to M4 and M6, just like with the 1/4 scale open RC go-kart that I built. Once again, the bearings aren't going to be available for this either, so I'm going to have to print polycarbonate bushings once again. They seem to do the job fine on the go-kart, so I'm hoping they actually hold up on this. Now this design actually uses a brushless outrunner motor. I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using that Rlaarlo motor in ESC once again. It wasn't the best in that 1/4 scale go-kart, but I think it's going to work really well on this. I'm a big fan of reusing components that I already have to make these projects, which is why I don't want that thing sitting around. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's to pay the money, to download the files, and actually make a start at printing this off. That's exactly what I did, and I was just about to start downloading the files, and then I got a message from the original creator. So Rob Roy reached out and basically said, I don't know how you got the files for this because this design is unpublished. He said he dropped the sale of this trike because it wasn't very fine-tuned, and he saw that I managed to get it, and he didn't know how. So the original creator has actually decided to drop this design, but I've still managed to get the files, and I'm still going to create it. Rlaarlo was actually really cool. He even offered to refund me since he wasn't happy with how the original design turned out. He even said I will have to make changes just like I did with the go-kart, and I actually said I'm happy to try this project. I don't expect a refund, and I'll just adjust and create things to make it work. And I did also say that I will tell everyone that this was an accident, I shouldn't have the files, and it's not actually available to buy. So I started printing out the components, and just like I did before, I had to go into Bambu Studio and times everything by 2 when it comes to size. Thankfully I didn't have to cut anything, everything managed to fit on the very large build plate of the H2S. For this project I also managed to use the H2C. Both of these printers feature really large build plates, and for a lot of these large scale projects that I'm taking on, they really are coming in handy. Just like all the other projects I've done on my channel so far, I want to say a huge thank you to Bambu Lab. Without those guys sponsoring the channel, I wouldn't be able to make these large scale projects, so a massive thank you to them once again. If you want to check out any of the Bambu Lab products featured on today's video, there'll be links down below, so head over there and check them out. So all the components are now finished when it comes to printing. It's time to start assembling this thing. Before I show you the build footage, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has been supporting these projects, and of course watching the videos and liking and everything else. Without you guys I wouldn't be able to actually do this, so a massive thank you once again. I know this type of content is a little bit different to what I would usually do on my channel, but it doesn't appear to be anyone else doing this kind of thing, so I really want to try and show you that you can use 3D printing in the RC hobby to actually produce some really cool results. And don't forget to show your support and hit that subscribe button, it really helps with the growth of the channel, and of course you can help me on my journey up to 100,000 subscribers. Right, now let's get this thing built. this project didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take, and having the 3 printers running side by side definitely helped to speed up the process. Last time with the RC go-kart I had to go onto CAD and actually create some custom parts. This time I didn't have to do that. I actually got lucky with this one. I'll tell you a little bit more about how I managed to sort out the servo and of course the motor mount. So let's take a look at the final result. This is my 1/3 scale RC Drift Trike.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play live or die.
So here it is, my latest project is now complete. How scary does Billy look? Now I think this does look really cool. It's definitely something we haven't seen before. Now of course I did face some challenges with this because everything is doubled in size. That meant I had to be a little bit creative with my servo setup. I also had to think of a way to mount the motor on this, and thankfully I was able to find a custom mount that someone else had actually created for a different project. I then used some brass inserts and I managed to screw it to the chassis. I then generated a new pinion gear. Sometimes things just work out, and this was one of those times. Some of you may be a bit disappointed that I haven't picked a well-known YouTuber to be the driver for this. I've done that before and that's kind of become the thing, but I do think with all the colour choices, this was the most appropriate driver. So of course we need to get this thing out and we need to see if all of this effort was actually worth it. I'm going to be running on 3S today. I think it will hold up on 3S. So let's get it out and let's see what it can do. So it's time to find out what this thing can do. Is it going to be an absolute drifting beast? Well, let's give it a go and let's see. Is this thing going to be a drifting beast? Yeah, I think so. So this one's definitely taken a little bit of work. Now of course as soon as you hit the throttle it is going to slide around a little bit. How cool does this thing look? Now if you go a little bit easy on the throttle, you can work up a little bit of speed actually, which is quite cool. Maybe with some proper tyres, this would actually be a bit of a straight line weapon. Hey. I think it's crazy that Rob Roy actually took this thing down, because I'm sure after seeing this video there's some people out there that would actually like to build one of these. How cool is the final result? And of course this is meant to be half the size. I've made everything twice as large. I kind of want to build an even bigger one. Maybe that will be one of my next projects. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. It does get going. Once it can find some grip, it does start to move. Of course, it's a little bit bouncy because there's no suspension, but it works and it's good. So there we go then, another large scale 3D project ticked off the list. And I have to say, the list of projects to do is definitely starting to grow. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm like by now. Once I start doing stuff like this, sometimes I get a little bit carried away. So please don't be shocked if you start seeing some proper crazy builds on the channel. Overall, a very successful little run. And it's a real shame that Rob Roy doesn't want to sell this design. So let me know in the comments section down below what you make of this. Did you enjoy seeing this project? And my main goal is to show you that you can print a fully usable RC car or something like this with a little bit of time, a little bit of filament, and of course a little bit of patience. Yes, of course it's not the easiest of things to do, and sometimes there is a little bit of CAD involved as well, but it's really not that difficult. And if I can learn to do stuff like this, I'm pretty sure you can as well. Right, I'm gonna stick another battery in this. I'm gonna go and have a bit more fun. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, don't go anywhere. If you missed the 1/4 scale go-kart build, click the top video now, or click the bottom video to check out the world's most advanced 3D printed F1 car.